This is my first time in the dyno.
We're now adding the Nitro Methanol.
50, that's 9 horse right there. Today's video is sponsored by ShipStation. What's up, everybody? Today on Cars and Cameras, we're gonna figure out just how much power our turbo nitro methanol Predator 670cc lawnmower engine drag rail is going to make, because we're going to the dyno. Years ago, when we first built this machine, we put it on the dyno and it made between 35 and 38 horsepower to the wheel. The main issue with that is we couldn't get an accurate RPM signal, so it was just kind of a guesstimate. Since then, we've swapped onto a different carburetor, we've added a turbocharger from a smart car, and we've switched over to nitro methanol fueling. In today's episode of Cars and Cameras, we're hoping to get this vehicle tuned in, ready for the drag strip, and also get an accurate number of just how much power it makes. I want to see 61 horsepower or more to the tires today. What do you guys think?
56.
55. So we're all between 55 and 61 horsepower to the wheel. Now let's head to the dyno. We'll see you there. Just one quick announcement. We're going to be taking the drag rail to Farmington Dragway in Mocksville, North Carolina this Friday, and we want to invite all you guys out to see it go down the track for the first time in its turbo nitro methanol configuration. This project has been a long time in the making, and it's something that we just want to share with you guys. We are going to be filming an episode, and things can get hectic at the drag strip, so we can't just hang out the whole time, but we want to invite you and we want to have a meet and greet, and just, you know, we want all of you guys who have supported us throughout the years of this drag rail to go see it down the drag strip. Of course, we're making a video, but wanted to extend a personal invitation for anyone who can come out. Our biggest challenge for the day is to simply get enough fuel into the engine. We have 3 carburetors with us, the first one being the 34mm Mikuni. We're second going to try out a 32mm Mikuni that has a power jet and is already tuned for methanol. And third, we have a 38mm Mikuni carburetor. You also may see us add socks to the air filter, which will reduce the airflow, which in turn richens our fuel mixture. A turbo gasoline engine will be happy with about 12 parts of air for every 1 part of fuel, whereas our nitro methanol blend here really is going to be happy around 5 parts to air to 1 part of fuel. So the big challenge is just to get a jet big enough in each of these carburetors that we test.
We're moments away from hooking it up, strapping it down to the dyno.
And making 90 horsepower, right?
Exactly.
To the tires?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to put Ike in it for extra grip on the tires. This is my first time in the dyno. The only thing that we had with rollers like this was to calibrate speed for speeding tickets at the shop that I work at. So this is pretty cool. We're gonna make some power. We're gonna see it, you know, do like this, and then we're going up.
Yep.
We're gonna need another screen above the screen so we can see where the needle goes. Wait, it goes this way. There we go.
So we got the thing set up on the dyno. We got the exhaust exiting out of the building, hopefully good enough where we're not choking on fumes in here. I think we're getting minutes away from the first fire up, and I think I'm pretty sure we're going to be firing it up on the gasoline and getting a kind of a baseline on gasoline. And then we're going to switch over to the nitro methanol.
Quick editor's note, we've had a lot of comments of people who seem to be confused by the type of fuel that we are using when we say nitro methanol. We are using a 90% methanol blend, 5% nitro, 5% other cylinder lubricants and additives. So hope that clears everything up. Back to the video.
And hopefully we're going to see some better numbers on that, but I'm hoping, but you know.
You never know.
You never know. Especially since we're having issues with this jetting not being big enough, and we can't go any bigger. So we'll see on that. So my guess is we're going to see, my guess, 56 horsepower
On gasoline?
On gasoline. So we got our O2 sensor hooked up, and we are getting ready to fire this thing up, but we're discussing what RPMs we think that everything's going to be locked in. We want this thing in basically high gear, so the drive pulley needs to be fully engaged, and that's going to be basically like 1-to-1, you know, high gear. And then that's how we're going to get the good horsepower readings. We don't want the torque converter to do anything. We just want it to be locked in place. So getting close.
I forgot my laptop, so I had to do it by hand, you know. We forgot to put bolts in the side cover. No.
Oh my God. I knew something was gonna fall off. I was expecting a wheel.
It could be worse.
We need a catch can.
Yeah, we need a catch can. I didn't check boost.
Went to 40 horse.
In the case.
As you can probably tell, we're always getting parts and accessories shipped to the shop, as well as we're always shipping out our t-shirts, hats, and other merchandise to you guys, which brings us to our video sponsor, ShipStation. ShipStation is the top web-based order management and shipping software designed to make retailers incredibly efficient at processing, fulfilling, and shipping their e-commerce orders. They combine order processing, inventory management, creation of shipping labels, and customer communication all into one easy-to-use interface that integrates directly with over 100 of the industry's top carriers, marketplaces, and selling channels. There's no reason to make things harder than they should be. Kind of like trying to tear a piece of tape when your buddy has a perfectly good knife to help you out, or if you're trying to loosen a rusty bolt by hand when there's a perfectly good Ugga-Dugga tool right next to you. And when you're running a business, taking the path of more resistance just holds yourself and your business back. But ShipStation makes managing shipping a lot easier for any of you e-commerce sellers out there. Then you can take the extra energy from managing orders, choosing carriers, printing labels, and use it on growing your business instead. Plus, ShipStation is the go-to for over 100,000 sellers in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. For us, we could use the extra energy to spend more time conceptualizing new carts and setting faster lap times on the Grand Prix, and that alone would make us feel 10 times better about our day-to-day work here. ShipStation works with all storefronts like Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and more for automating processes like fulfillment and tracking. They also give you major discounts on rates that are normally only for Fortune 500 companies, and you can compare these rates, carriers, and delivery times in the software to optimize every shipping scenario. And 98% of companies that use ShipStation for a year have decided to keep using it for as long as they're in business. ShipStation isn't magic, but it will make your shipping stress disappear. Sign up for a free 60-day trial today at ShipStation.com/CarsandCameras and start breathing easier with every shipment. That's 2 whole months of stress-free shipping, and it's free to try. Just go to ShipStation.com/CarsandCameras.
ShipStation. Make ship happen.
Thank you again to ShipStation. Now let's get back to the dyno.
All right, so we had a little bit of a problem with the base pressure getting, you know, it's a turbo. We opened up the rings. Yes, we're gonna have more base pressure. And well, the tube started puking oil all over the place and puking onto the turbo and stuff. I was expecting something to flame up. But luckily it didn't. We got 40 horsepower at 65.
6,050.
Yeah, 6,050. I felt like it was just starting to get into it. into the power range when we come out of it.
We
So,
aborted.
Yes.
And the sparks you were seeing was the
Self-clearing.
chain self-clearing. So.
Yeah.
On the firewall.
Is it the firewall? I don't think it's the firewall. It's usually the
No,
backing
pulley.
plate.
I think it's the driven pulley.
Either way,
Yeah.
it's clear now.
Yeah, it's been self-clearing forever. I totally missed out on how much boost we had because I was too busy focusing on the engine and not my gauges, and I should have been keeping an eye on the gauges because who knows, we might have lost oil pressure. If we did, I would have missed it and we would have blown up an engine. I missed the tack, I missed the boost.
Well, it
But,
already made more power than it did NA last time on the dyno.
Yeah, so it's better on, it's got more power than it did before, which is great. So awesome.
So on gasoline, we made a peak of 41 horsepower at 6150 RPM to the tires. Now, we did turbocharge it, and the engine supposedly made 55 horsepower before we turbocharged it, but that's going to be at the crankshaft. And considering we're running through a 780 torque converter setup rated for 30 horsepower, I'm pretty darn happy with 41. And plus, it makes quite a bit more than it did the first time we dynoed it as well, about 5 to 6 horsepower more. So we're going to get the jet switched over to methanol, nitro methanol, and throw our tube socks back on and fire it up and see if we can make some more power.
We're currently pumping all the gasoline out to slowly switch it over to methanol.
All right, so Charles took the fuel tank off so we could tilt the fuel tank and get all of the gasoline out of it because we're now adding the nitro methanol. A lot of y'all have asked about the nitro methanol. It is nitro and methanol. That's it, nitro methanol. And we're going to add this to the rail, and we're hoping to see some horsepower gains. Now, I'm a little worried myself because I don't think that the carburetor can handle the fuel delivery.
enough fuel, yep.
But we're going to find out here in a second. I mean, I've never seen fuel look like spring water before.
So everything's switched over to run on methanol except for our wideband. It can only read down to 7.2 air to fuel ratio. So we're basically looking to bottom the gauge out and then some. But other than that, we're good to go. Just to add some context, the red line is horsepower, the blue line is torque, and the green line is air to fuel ratio, up being lean and down being rich. Our peak horsepower is 50 at 6,100 RPM. Right around 5,000 RPM, when the engine starts to make good power, the AFR spikes lean to about 16.5 to 1. And at peak power, our air-fuel ratio is about 14.7 to 1, which is way too lean for our nitro methanol blend. Because we've maxed out our carburetor jet size, all we can do with this carburetor is restrict airflow by adding socks to the air filter. Thankfully, we brought 2 other carburetors to tune with after this one. She made a lot more power.
What's your name?
Dude, that's 50. That's 9 horse right there. With a fuel change. So with just a fuel change, pick up 9 horsepower.
Again, I didn't look at the boost.
Well, need more fuel.
Need more fuel. Oh, we
still kind of lean. It's 14.
Well,
Anybody got another sock?
Yeah, but he caught another
Yeah, I'll make a sacrifice.
Someone take the sock off.
So at this point, the only way we can get more fuel is to shave the needle down, which is going to allow more fuel to get into the engine. Another way we can do it is Charles adding the sock. That's about the quickest, easiest thing to do.
So silly,
Yeah.
but it works.
So we're going to give it a shot.
So like we mentioned, we really can't add any more fuel to this carburetor, but what we can do is restrict airflow. So basically, the Charles sock method, we're going to see if it makes more or less power this way. And then we might play around with different carburetors or crank up the boost anyway, because methanol is apparently very forgiving, right guys?
Yep.
yes.
Cool.
Huh? Lost two horsepower with socks.
Really?
So we're swapping out carburetors, trying something a little different, and hopefully we'll see some gains. We're just kind of experimenting at the moment. So I don't know what carburetor we're using right now.
32,
What's coming off of it?
34.
Okay, so 34 is coming off of it, and we're putting a 32 on.
But that one is tuned for methanol already, and it has a power jet.
So she ready to go.
Oh yeah.
She ready to party. This carburetor is really cool. It's got a clear bowl. As you're going to see, I'm going to turn on the fuel, and it's going to fill up the bowl. Here we go. There it is.
So cool.
That is so cool. And it looks like it's going to be overpowering it and
No.
flowing out.
Nope.
No?
No, it fills it all the way up.
I think 40. So we're swapping on our 38 millimeter carburetor, which we probably needed more airflow than the 30, definitely the 32, maybe the 34. But our biggest issue has been fueling. So we're hoping that this carburetor has larger internal passages for fuel, and we can also just hog out the jets even more. But if we can get a good air-fuel ratio, then we can start turning up the boost. But right now, 50 horsepower with the 2 Soccer has been our top,
Yeah.
which is not bad. We found that the 38mm carburetor was simply too big for the 670cc to pull air through, and it didn't rev up unless we significantly restricted the airflow.
Jason, why don't we take the other carburetor, drill out the jet a little bit more, and throw it back on.
With 2 socks.
With what not? Well,
2 socks. It seemed to be a 2-socker.
yeah, but we're gonna go ahead and drill out the jet more. I figured we find the limits because we have more jets, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We find the limit where we bust through, and then we back off one. So on this last clip, what I didn't tell John was I put the moon tune on her. And what's a moon tune? It's basically you tune it where the rides are gonna make it to the moon. And how I did that was I went over here to the wastegate and I unplugged the wastegate and plugged this off, disabling the wastegate, letting it hit 20 pounds of boost. And it liked it. We were there for 4 or 5 hours working on this thing, and I was getting tired of 50 horsepower. So I mean, I just let her eat, and I was pretty happy with the results. I'm pretty sure the belt.
Oh yeah,
the
belt was slipping real bad.
That was it.
Put the moon tune in
How
it.
much boost?
Dude, that sucker. You trying to blow it
Should
up,
we take
man.
a sock off?
So that last pull we did, it hit about 20 PSI of boost, which is insane, and it pretty much shredded the belt. It made 60 foot-pounds, and then past that, it pretty much blew the belt off, and our reading was not super accurate. So that means our peak numbers are about 50 horsepower and 60 foot-pounds, but again, with the issue of having a slipping belt, we don't know. We know it made at least that, right? At least that. So we have a new belt on the way. We're gonna try to like prep it a little bit better next time. And these rollers are also, it's more rolling resistance than driving down the drag strip as well. So we still have a fueling issue. We didn't get it quite as rich as we wanted. We're gonna need to look into probably a carburetor that can deliver more fuel, but our 38 mil carburetor, it was just too large. It didn't even pull any fuel past idle. But other than that, awesome day. Awesome day. Yeah, shout out to Henry, who had the dyno, my buddy Wyatt, who helped us tune this thing up. And I guess next up, we might be headed to the drag strip, throwing a new belt on, going to the drag strip, and then long term, looking into carburetors.
We almost had a danger to manifold email pop up on the computer. It was 25 pounds of boost.
It was 25?
It was close to. You blew the welds on the intake manifold. Now we got to rip apart the engine.
Thank y'all for watching.
That was
Go to our
my intake
website.
manifold.
Go to our website, cars-cameras.com, pick up some merchandise, help support the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.